So there's a group of fellow Africans out there that, ladies and gentlemen, they have built one of the most powerful businesses networks in the world without banks, without contracts, and without the functioning state. Ladies and gentlemen, this is none other than my fellow Somalians. All right. So if they are not talked about enough, we need to talk about them today. But in the context of our cultures in sub-Saharan Africa, I really think going back to like colonization, like we've been broken apart. We don't trust each other, and it shows in today's world. And I think other cultures that are succeeding in Africa, the Indians, the Lebanese, the Chinese, what they have that the rest of us lack is a strong collective community of trust. You may not like me, but you trust me enough to know that I'm not going to screw you over in this business deal. Whereas Congo, Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire, Nigerians, if we were to work with each other, heck no, am I giving you a discount? Makelele, pardon. Let's see here. Oh, hi guys. Sorry, your girl is multitasking, sending mobile M-Pesa money to one of my staff in order to follow up on a payment. You are catching me in the midst of work. And so let's do this. All right. Sent. Essayer. What is happening with Vodacom? I know this is an unorthodox podcast episode where your girl is literally welcome to the Noemi and Co podcast. This is a Diaspora Playbook. Okay, so in this episode, we're going to talk about the Somali economic model. So, full transparency, I'm working on finalizing a funding document because I'm trying to apply for funds. Please pray for me, $500,000. So, as I'm looking at my laptop while doing this podcast, your girl is multitasking. So, the reason why I think I want to talk about the Somali economic model is that why is it that they succeed in building their economy in a way that I'm going to say something that may be controversial, but no other Black African economy has been able to do. Like, so let's just talk about it because I am obsessed with the Somalian model and living in Kenya, Nairobi. Those of you who don't know, the Somalians are now making up the literally, if not the largest GDP in that country as a collective economy. When I say the largest, I mean as people, collective people. And a lot of that Eastleigh, if you don't know what that is in Kenya, that's mini Somalia. Minneapolis, United States, like they're killing it. And Dubai, they're killing it. You guys, I'm just obsessed with the Somali model, okay? So let's start with first and foremost, why I think it's powerful that we talk about the Somali economic model. I think as Black Africans, the members of the diaspora, myself included, we suffer from a complex, I'm going to say it, I think this has to do a lot with colonization. I know at some point we have to stop blaming everything on colonization, but we need to talk about it. We have a tendency of always looking for external models outside of the Black community of powerful economies as a playbook for us to follow, but that never works within the context of our economies, especially in the 21st century. And I'm shocked that we don't talk about Somalians more because they're a great example that we can follow, and it's in within our continent. So there's no excuse. And I really think what they've done is they've turned a stateless clan fragmentation diaspora from a disadvantage to a unbreakable global network. Like this is just like a masterclass on community capitalism. You guys, like I am obsessed with this economy right now. Okay, let's just start with the first problem. Okay, this is an ongoing problem that I see all the time in our community is what I call the leaky bucket of informal economies. Okay, so in this case, in my case, for example, Congo, we call it likelimba. I think Ethiopia and Mali, they call it susu. South Africa has a name for it. Kenya, it's an entire economy. Ultimately, what this is what I call informal banking. There is, say, six of us. Each month, we put $1,000. And what we do in Congo every other month, each member gets the collective money. So there's six members, $1,000 each. That's $6,000. Month one, I get 6,000. Month two, the next person gets 6,000. That model, the reason why it's like super flawed in the context of sub-Saharan Africa, especially countries like Congo, is because there's many reasons. Okay, it fails because one, it's based on emotional consumption. We build these things to feed an emotional need. Oh, I need to buy a fridge. Oh, I need to finish building my house. Oh, but it's never used as capital to build a cash flow business. Like, why not take that money, finance something that's going to hedge against recession, that's going to keep generating cash flow for the members of the group? So this is where I think Somalians they win. So what they've done is that their model actually of like informal pool where we fail, where they succeed is that they've turned a trust system. I think they call it like a Amon, it's into a financial trade and network. So how it works, I literally had to write this down. Actually, let me find my notes on the Somali playbook because you guys, I've been obsessing with this. It's the Hawala economy. So it's not just about sending money. It's like a trust layer of global commerce. It's insane. So you have an uncle, a Somalian uncle in Minneapolis in his little dinky shop. I go and I'm like, hey uncle, I'm gonna send $1,000 to this sort of like collective funding in Kenya, but no, uncle calls his brother in Kenya. Hey, I have this nephew here. What do you know about him? Do you trust him? What's happening? He wants to use this money to contribute to this collective pool where his money is going to be for the container to be go through custom in Nairobi or in Mombasa. And then the other uncle is like, oh yeah. My other nephew, he's actually in Dubai. His money is going towards buying the merchandise that's going to fill the container, and then by the time it gets to Nairobi and the stuff gets sold, the members of the collective group of this container all share the profit. You guys, it's an insane network that I'm like, how do I tap into that? And what's even more insane with the Hawala system, some of those uncles say in Minneapolis. So at one point, Congo, we were the largest like Western Union customers. Let me tell you, some of this Hawala system is pure cash. Like, uncle, here's $1,000 cash. Uncle has a stack of cash saved up, calls his brother back in Nairobi, who also has a stack of cash. Like, how, like, a government can't even trace a system like that. It is bonkers, but genius. Somalians, like genius as a model. And I think where I really think that this is amazing, I had to write this down. Like, $1,000 sent from Minneapolis, it's not just cash. No. It's an invoice confirmation. Like, it means the payment for the Dubai textile is sent, release the container to my cousin in Eastleigh, Kenya. The same trust that moves money moves goods. Ladies and gentlemen, the application is quite simple. You're transforming your saving cycle into, let's save $10,000 each, make it a pool of $10,000 for a line of credit for a container that's going to have a bunch of cooking oil that we're then going to send to Ahmad in Mombasa, who handles clearance because he has a clearance company. And what he's gonna do is Aisha, his sister, is gonna handle the sales in Eastleigh at her shop. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what you called a trading finance hub. Like, insane. And all that comes from what? A collective pool of money. A bunch of people in the community getting together from different parts of the world saying every month we're going to contribute this amount, rather than that money going to my pocket to fund some weird funeral issue. It's going to go towards a container that Aisha is going to sell the goods, and all of us share the dividends from the sales. Number two, ladies and gentlemen, oh, you guys, first of all, I'm supposed to be working on my funding application for this major fund, but I'm going to pause and I'm going to talk about the Somali model because I'm like that obsessed with it. You guys, number two problem in our communities, this one, there's no trust. Like, I don't want to generalize across the board, but in sub-Saharan Africa, like the lack of trust, and I realize in Western economy, like when I look at the US, when I look at Europe, the reason why trust is not even a conversation sometimes because the system is so built on traceability that, let's be honest, if you're going to work with if you're a white guy working with another white guy who's as a supplier, you're basing it on the fact that here's a supplier who has the goods, I went to his shop, I can pay him via square payments and I get a receipt. Everything is so traceable that people don't really need to do business based on trust a lot of times unless they get to like a big league, like when you're like at the level of like the Elon and the Jeff Bezos. I'm sure at that level it's a trust system, you have to, but for the most part You don't really need to, right? But in the context of our cultures in sub-Saharan Africa, I really think going back to like colonization, like we've been broken apart. We don't trust each other, and it shows in today's world. And I think other cultures that are succeeding in Africa, the Indians, the Lebanese, the Chinese, what they have that the rest of us lack is a strong collective community of trust. You may not like me, but you trust me enough to know that I'm not going to screw you over in this business deal. And I think Somalian community, it's a trust system. You guys, tell me how my friend who's Somalian told me the other day, her uncle brings in oil from Sudan into DRC in Kisangani area. Like, so homie is taking oil from a war zone, bring it to another war zone. Like, whether you love it or hate it, it's genius. The uncle, how he does business, he never uses a paper contract. He literally shakes your hand, looks at you in the eye, and that eye contact is your collateral. If you screw him over, your marital prospects are done in the community. This is how the Somalians do business here. It's a trust system. And you guys, I kid you not, this is what I've seen. Like, I had to write this down. This is a common pattern that I've seen. A Ghanaian exporter won't ship to Congo without 100% prepayment. The Congolese buyer won't pay the Ghanaian without seeing the good. The deal dies from purely mutual suspicion and lack of trust. And so, what we do is we rely on these ineffective formal contracts that are paper based. You need to sign that, you need to sign that, but really they're rarely enforced. So, it's pretty much a joke. And really, the cost of that is that there's a lack of trust in within Africans that really is costing us everything, and it makes it so much more expensive and slower to make things happen. And why it makes it more expensive is actually quite simple. The Somalian, like I said, the previous example, one cousin works at customs in Kenya. The other cousin is in Dubai buying the textile. The other cousin is in Minneapolis working a job and using that money to send it over. What you have is people with a common interest to move the goods, and everybody understands that we're all going to make our cut once Aisha in Eastleigh sells the goods. What does that do? The custom fee is waived. That cousin is not going to charge a full price. He wins by the goods being sold. And how is he going to do that if he's already charging everybody regular price? Whereas Congo, Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire, Nigerians, if we were to work with each other, heck no, am I giving you a discount? I don't even trust that you're going to sell the goods anyway. And this is our problem. And I really think the solution that the Somalians have nailed, and I know this may rub some of you the wrong way, but unfortunately, until you have a tried and truth model, you gotta go with you gotta go with what works. And I think what Somalians have really won is this clan-based collateral. Like, your reputation in the Somalian community is your biggest collateral. Like, formal banking institution will look at your credit score in the Western economy, will look at your income, will look at your asset that you own. In Congo, the really formal institutions look at the properties that you own. In the Somalian community, your reputation is worth way more than any like asset that you have. Are you kidding me? If you did not honor your word in that business deal, ladies and gentlemen, your name, your children's marital prospects is out the door, because nobody wants to be associated to the con artist who said that he was going to deliver that container and in the end duped everybody. Some of you may be like, well, that's not fair. Why should the your future generations suffer from something that one person did? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm so sorry. If we're going to make arguments based on fairness, are you kidding me? I'm in Congo right now. Why is it that this country is so dang poor? Minus the fact that we have the most resources in the world. I'm sorry. Fairness is out the door. This is life. This is the real world. Reputation should matter. And I actually think this is one of the biggest reasons why other African cultures, Black Africans, we don't succeed in business as a collective. There's no repercussion to bad behavior. Like, that uncle that's a creep comes to every family gathering. He has stolen money so many times. Nobody holds him accountable. Whereas in the Somalian economy, it is ruthless. Like, you screwing over someone in Minneapolis, news travels fast. WhatsApp groups are going off the rails. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry, but there has to be consequences to behavior, and your reputation, I think, should be collateral. And this, by the way, is not just the Somalians. I just think Somalians are the most ruthless with this. Jewish people do that. They're very similar. Indians, very similar. My Indian friends throughout sub-Saharan Africa, whenever you want to do business, they're going to be like, oh, let me call this person and verify this person's reputation. Meanwhile, us, like that dude has screwed over everybody in the community, literally, sexually and financially. He's not held accountable. That girl has had so many container projects. She never comes to fruition. We're still out here scraping for funds and trying to give her money. No. Like, I really think you guys, like, this is brutal from the Somalis to do this, but you guys, it's necessary. Like, you need this as a social and economic death. Like, it needs to feel like death when you shake my hand and you don't honor your word. The consequences have to be ruthless, and you need to feel it so that you don't screw me over. And that's how you build economies, especially in informal economies like sub-Saharan Africa. It has to be based on trust. And I think that reputation should matter. And I really think that how some of us can adopt that is to be specific on the sector. So here's an idea that I had. Like, if you're in the agro processing diaspora, that's what you're interested in. So what you want to do is form a vetted group of 10 people. And what you do in that group of 10 people, when one member screws over, I'm so sorry, but they need to be expulsion from the group and blacklisted. It sounds so ruthless, but this enforcement, I think, will help us move businesses and goods much quicker. And even another model that my friend recently did, there's, I think, six of us, we put money every month towards this fund. And what we do is about 40% of the money goes to a high interest account. And then we're going to use that money. I'm super excited coming up. We're going to be using that money to do like microloans and funding for SMEs in Africa. And how my friend who sort of initiated this model and the rest of the 60% every other month each member gets it. So it's kind of the what we call likelimba. But what I love about this model, she's taking part of it and then putting it towards some kind of investment fund for SMEs in Africa. And what she did, like, shout out to Fanta, my girl's a genius, originally from Mali. Because Mali, that's one thing about sub-Saharan Africa. Different parts of Africa have different clan system, different cultures. And I find Mali, when it comes to susus, like, they're very rigorous, and the elders get involved when you don't honor your word. But my girl, what she did was in this group when we're putting our money together, another model that she did, she was like, okay, each person gets to nominate someone to come into a new collective full of fund model. This new person that you're bringing in, you become like responsible for them. What does that mean? I recommended one of my really good friends in Congo that I think should be a part of this funding circle. If she 1 month does not like faults on her payment, she's not able to contribute, it's on me to not pay for her contribution. I know it sounds crazy, but I think it's genius because it then forces me to be like, girl, you can't be out here recommending randoms into this group. And this small group of women, all of us that contribute, we're pretty like pretty strong portfolios and profile and stuff like that throughout sub-Saharan Africa. So you gain by being part of this group, this circle, and regularly making your payments, or else your reputation is tarnished. And within this group, what's even been amazing, my depot that I'm building in Bandundu, a member of that group gave me the capital as a loan for that depot. So not only am I gaining a strong network of like-minded folks, but there's an accountability measure. Like, I gotta deliver on this depot and pay back my loan that I owe her, or else my reputation is screwed. So I think these are the accountability metrics that I think should be tested, and you can do them for like sector specific in your network. Try that and let me know how that goes. So let's go to problem number 3. You guys, I could talk about the Somalian model all day long because I've been obsessing over it and I'm like in awe, okay? The number 3 problem that I thought of that I constantly see is this idea of being purely dependent on a single market. So, what does that mean? Sorry, I keep moving my mics, although I have like 2 mics. What does that mean? What I've noticed a lot with the diaspora, we put all our eggs in one basket. So what that looks like in reality, and this is where Somalians I think are winning. So what we do, we build a business, say in Accra or Nairobi or in Kinshasa. Our entire fortune is tied to one government. Our entire fortune is tied to one currency and one set of regulations. And one political shift or economic crash wipes us out. The problem with that is that the mindset that we have is that we think expansion is phase 2. Well, it's really not actually. It should be a survival mechanism for your business. And the solution that I find that Somalis have nailed is this inherent form of transnational design. And I don't know if the Somalis did that on purpose or it just so happened that the diaspora is so spread out that they won in this mechanism. I'm sorry for the noise. We have someone cooking in the kitchen. But anyways, so what they've done, like the Somali, what they've done is they have this regional network of the diaspora that works to their advantage. So let's go back to the first example that I did, right? Cousin one is in Minneapolis, United States, works a job in tech, takes that money, contributes to this group of collecting fund. We're 6 Somalians all over the world. We want to import a container of 20 feet container into Nairobi because we know that there's demand for clothing in Nairobi. Cousin one, his contribution is pure capital that's gonna go towards getting the container together. Cousin two, cousin two is located in Dubai. His contribution is not just capital, but it's also in Dubai buying the textile. Cousin three, his contribution is the capital and customs in Kenya because he owns a custom clearing company. Cousin four, Aisha, her contribution is not only the capital every month, but it's also the fact that she has a shop in Eastleigh, Kenya, where she gets to sell the clothes that come from the container. So what you see is each person is located in different regions of the world. And what that does is that it hedges against currency, recession. Because think about it, if things go wrong in Minneapolis with the new with the current presidency, the collective is in different parts of the world. Their money is also in Dubai. Their money is also in shillings. They're like, if things don't go well in Dubai where they can't, there's no textile in Dubai. Whoa, boo-hoo. Like they get to get textile in Turkey for all I care. Like it's such an transnational connected way of circulating money that you're kind of hedging against being dependent on just one country. And this is also why my previous podcast episode, I really emphasize on how 2026, the diaspora has to understand that there is leverage in you building relationships in other African countries that is outside of your country of origin. Like I'm originally from DRC, but also have a foot in Kenya. And I'm trying to build a foot in Cote d'Ivoire and Senegal. So I think this is what the future needs to look like for fellow Black Africans. And Somalians, they're already doing it naturally, right? So it's very, very impressive. And I really think that the reason why I really think that this is super genius, and I have to look at my screen because I just got an important message. You guys, I juggle too many things. Like I just got a notification, blah blah. Lord. Okay. Guys, always fires when you're a founder. Um, yeah, I'm so sorry. You guys are catching me. This is live, all right? We're not going to do a podcast just for the sake of podcast. I have to keep hustling. But I think what I really want to take as a takeaway with Somalians, there's many things. I think one is that fellow Black Africans in the diaspora, whether we like it or not, I really believe what's holding us back as people in order to build intergenerational wealth, in order to build scalable businesses, in order to build mass wealth, in order to build legacy is a lack of trust in our communities. And I get it, within our own families, 90% of the time is where we get screwed over the most. So, how do you trust strangers? But I really think, from my experience living in DRC and in Kenya, what keeps us tie back is that we don't work together, we don't trust each other, we don't want to see another person in the community succeeding above us, right? It's the idea that if he's making millions, that's not okay. Like I should be making millions. I'm not okay with him making millions. Meanwhile, I'm only making 100,000. But like you don't understand that he has more leverage than you. Like be realistic. I think another big thing I really think like we could learn from the Somalians is that social collateral. Like I think we need better accountability. And I think the accountability cannot just be based on pure emotions. Oh, I hate this person. They were rude to me on Friday night. No, no. It's collateral based on patterns and behavior. You have screwed over this thing that you said that you were going to deliver on, not based on the fact that she's moody or her tone is rude. That's not the point. You may not like the way I speak because I'm very direct and it rubs some people the wrong way. but I get things done. Like you need to judge me based on that, not based on my period cycle. Like I'm sorry. Like so I think this is where we need more collateral and accountability. And I think last point, I really think being cross borders, like the world of the global economy today, everything is interconnected. And I don't understand how until this day, as fellow Africans, we still put our wealth in one economy. We still put our money in one economy. We still like I just don't think that's wise. And I think Somalians, I really think I applaud them. I am you may not like the the one person when I was writing the content for this, one person was like, well, they're polygamous. I'm like that's not the point. Like I don't care about that. Like what I need to focus on for this podcast is where I see people doing well in business in the African continent and how does the rest of the continent move in that direction, especially the fact that Somalians are Africans, they are black. I don't care if some of you are like, oh no, they're Arabic. Arabic, they're black. I claimed it. I'm claiming them. I think that they need to be applauded. They've succeeded in a way that's impressive. And yeah, Mogadishu, sorry, I'm butchering the word. Somalia as a country may not be the best country, but their diaspora is to be applauded. And I really admire it. So make sure you subscribe. And I'm going to do a bigger deep dive on the Somalian blueprint model in my Substack newsletter and how I plan on implementing it in different African markets. And as always, make sure to subscribe, share, and have a good day.